Over the weekend, we have witnessed something absolutely horrific, and we can all be glad that President Trump has survived this assassination attempt. So before we continue and discuss what that means for Tesla and for Elon and for all of us, let's just pause for a minute and for a second and remember the victims. And it's pretty terrible what happened there. So what does it mean for Tesla stock? What happened over the weekend? The assassination attempt that failed, Trump nearly survived, barely survived. And we see that the stock is up 5% Monday morning. Why is this happening? Why is there not a shock in the market? And why does Tesla benefit from this whole thing? And I think what it means, the bottom line here is this whole event has basically ensured, if Trump survives until November, which is a whole different question, but we all have to hope he does. I think what it means is we have political clarity. It will lead to a huge boost of Trump's values and Trump's votes. And I think it's very clear at this point that he's probably going to be the next president. And the markets like that. Markets like clarity. They do not like the chaos on the Democratic side, and they do not like the general chaos of not knowing what's happening. But most importantly, I think there are 4 reasons why this whole event and Trump likely becoming president now is so powerful for Tesla stock in the long term even. And I will go through these 4 reasons very quickly. And I don't want to make this a partisan video here. I'm a moderate, I'm in the middle. I'm just describing what happens to the stock and why this is bullish. Number 1 of the 4 reasons, stability. No one liked the situation we were in, that Biden is clearly not really on top of his game anymore. There is all this discussion on the Democratic Party side to remove him, but he doesn't want to. Then there's Kamala Harris, which many view through a critical lens, especially when it comes to wokeness, DEI, and all these other things that are highly detrimental to progress for building innovation. So there was a lot of confusion and fear. I think now that it's becoming more clear who's going to win this and what Trump stands for, I think that's very bullish for the stock market and for especially innovation stocks that want to push the frontier like Tesla. Number 2 is very simple. Besides the stability and clarity, that Trump is the pro-business and innovation candidate. And maybe more importantly, the other side has proven to be very anti-Tesla, and that was very concerning. But on the very basic side, Trump stands for anti-regulation. He always says this is more important than lowering taxes, is lowering regulation. And if you want to build anything, you know how deadly regulation can be. We need to free the pioneers like Elon and Tesla, and they need to be able to actually build stuff. They cannot be bogged down by crazy regulations. Anti-interference, that is part of it. Here we go a little bit more into the corruption problem, that judges just seize Elon's property and things like that and make our agreements as shareholder with them invalid. This is absolutely unacceptable, and it's very powerful that this is probably going to end, or at least there's a tendency to end this. Lower taxes, I already mentioned that. That's very significant actually for stocks. If you look at what that does to bottom lines, very important. And a general atmosphere that politicians and the president and his cabinet is actually on the side of the innovators that want to disrupt and create innovation. And whatever you think of Trump, he also stands for disruption and doing things in new ways. That pisses off a lot of people, obviously. But you can see the similarities to Elon. And I think that's why these two have a certain sympathy for each other, even if they disagree on many things. But it's the general spirit of maybe we do things my way and I know what to do here. And some people like that and say we need strong leaders who actually push the boundaries. That's true for Elon. And just say, if Elon has a great idea, let him run with it. He has a great track record of doing that. And I think Trump instinctively likes that too. The third point that goes now a little beyond standard talking points of taxes and regulations. The next point, number 3, is something I call pro-civilization. And I think Trump benefits tremendously from having horrible alternatives. So in other words, Trump doesn't need to be a genius who strategizes the future of civilization. All he has to do is stop the deterioration of the structure of our society. All he has to do is not buy into crazed ideologies like wokeness and DEI and anti-Americanism and hunting down the pioneers and the people who built great things, and not be on the side of politics of envy and, quite frankly, socialism that aims at the people who build the future and tries to tear them down. And I think even if many of us were on the fence about Trump, what we saw and witnessed with Elon happening in the last, in this year, when we realized that these corrupted courts, these crazed ideologues in courts, can actually go after Elon this way and destroy our shareholder value and destroy his life's work through complete injustice because they're in positions of power and they're crazed in their minds with ideology. I think that was a wake-up call, that what Trump does, even if you disagree with his tone or whatever, this is about something much deeper than tone. It's about securing the future here and making sure we can just operate in freedom. The president has one job: to let the pioneers do their job and don't interfere. Just make sure the border works, keep the global peace, and ensure the justice system is not completely corrupted. And we are all happy. That's all we need you to do. And clearly, certain other people can't do that. So that is not acceptable. And we need someone who can just do that. That's a very low bar. But unfortunately, a lot of other alternatives can't take that bar, and Trump probably can. And finally, the fourth point is that Trump is pro-Elon, and Elon now officially is pro-Trump. And as I mentioned before, Elon and Tesla, they don't need pro-EV politics. They don't need subsidies. They don't need the government to step in and do some, energy subsidies or something. Because Elon and Tesla, that's why we like them and invest in them, they know how to re-engineer the world. They know how to build a better future. They do not need politics to get special treatment. What they need is politics to not hold them back and not attack them constantly. And that's why it's so bullish that if Trump wins, we have someone who doesn't do that, who leaves Elon alone, and we need Elon to execute. Without his property being seized, without activist judges trying to interfere with him, and without other crazy people with their own agenda attacking him. So here's the bottom line why I think the stock is up and why I think this whole trend is now very positive. We need freedom, we need a spirit of innovation, and we need a spirit of winning. And I think that's what's on the agenda now. And I hope I didn't trigger anyone who's a Trump hater here too much, but I think we have to learn this is not just about personal feelings here. We have to understand what impacts the future, what impacts innovation, what constellation in Washington allows Elon to execute. And I think the constellation that is coming probably in November is a much better constellation. So this means if it happens, if Trump makes it alive to November, it's going to be good for Tesla stock for the next 4 years. I think it will initiate a new age of innovation where people feel free to innovate, free to do deals, and free to create new things. So I remain bullish. I hope you remain bullish too. I think all Trump haters who are Elon and Tesla lovers get over it and see the facts, how this is good for everyone. And let's pray everyone stays safe in this election cycle. Thank you and see you around.